Then we say what's going on, everybody. Christian Ballard, Ballard Sports Media. A lot of great content coming to the channel. We continue our postseason power rankings. Got to try to get these out quickly. I want to get these out in February, at least by March 1st, if I can. So maybe if I did one each week for you guys, I think that would be uh, really exciting. So, hey, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. Really appreciate it. This will be a quick one today, but we do want to look at the Big 12 today in terms of what did these teams do. Now, we will not necessarily break down every single team, every single game, everything like that. But I want to look at the standings. Here's how I want to do these. I want to look at the standings. I want to give my team of the year and then ultimately run through. I'm not going to explain myself for every single team, but I am going to show you the ultimate ranking. So starting at the top, I got Arizona State, obviously made the college football playoff. Um, Colorado, Iowa State, BYU, and Baylor in my top five. There's a couple different candidates on this list that I think could have been for team of the year. I I gotta go with Colorado. I think it's criminal not to, and I'm probably gonna catch some slack for that. I don't know. But Big 12 team of the year, Colorado 9-4 overall. They had a really good season. And I'm not gonna say that it was unexpected. I think that it was kind of expected that they win 9 games. But I think the thing is that it's a little odd that they didn't make the Big 12 title game, and I think that they'll be probably the favorite next year just because Deion Sanders is the coach. I know he's going to lose some talent, and I understand that he is losing Travis Hunter and Shador, but he'll have some guys back, right? They won their first game against North Dakota State. Okay, big whoop. And they struggled in it. Now, North Dakota State's good on the FCS level, but I don't know if a team like Colorado should necessarily struggle in that game. Then they lose in a blowout to Nebraska, but then they beat Colorado State, Baylor, UCF, Arizona, Cincinnati, Texas Tech, and they go on this gauntlet run. They did lose to Kansas, but I got to give it to them because they still ended up like first in the Big 12. One of them, like, I mean, they had some losses in the Big 12, but so did BYU, so did Iowa State, so did Arizona State, who all finished with a 7-2 conference record, like Colorado. Um, the thing about Arizona State for me is I think coming out of the Pac 12, they've already been good. And I think it was kinda expected, and plus, it's just kinda weird to give it to the team that ultimately won the Big 12 and made a playoff game that they lost in round 2. No disrespect, no dissing, none of that. I just something about Colorado stood out. I really think 9 wins kinda exceeded things. I figured maybe 6 or 7 wins, personally. Even with all that talent, like I said, it's year 1. There's no way. But they won 9 games, and I thought that was very impressive. Now they lost to BYU in a blowout, but BYU is BYU, right? Even in that game, Shedeur Sanders was still the highest passing quarterback, and Travis Hunter was still the lead receiver of the entire game in the Alamo Bowl at 106. So even though they only scored 14 points, they still put on a great offensive performance. And when you look back at that game, they just couldn't punch it in every single time. So there's that. So Colorado is our Big 12 team of the year. Now we get into the rankings. Arizona State, who made the playoffs 11-3. I got to go Colorado at number 2. They do have a Heisman Trophy winner and Travis Hunter. They got a lot of top draft picks that you'll see produced this April. Iowa State, I liked this year, BYU and Baylor to round out the top 5. And I'm not going to explain all 16 teams. Uh, your next category is the mid-tier: TCU, Kansas State, Texas Tech, West Virginia, and Houston. You really get down to the bottom of it for the Big 12, and there's really some bad records, for real. I'm talking like, just look at this. Kansas, 1 win shy of a bowl appearance. Utah, what are you doing? Arizona had a great season last year, and then turn around this year, 4-8. That's not good. UCF and Gus Malzahn, boy, he's probably on the first train smoking out of Central Florida soon. That's my guess. Uh, Cincinnati, again, I didn't know what to expect of them. Oklahoma State, is Mike Gundy still coaching? Don't tell me Mike Gundy's still coaching there. 0-9 in Big 12 play. They were bad. Like 0-9, and forget their overall record. They didn't win a freaking Big 12 game. They just didn't. They did not. I mean, I feel bad for them. So, those are my 16 rankings for each team. And I think it's obvious at the top. It's obvious the mid-tier teams. Sonny Dykes still at TCU, 9-4 is pretty good. He's getting them back on track after they got blown out in the national title game a couple of years ago. Then they go, I think, 5-7 last year, and then they turn around. They go 9-4, which I guess is kind of expected. I wouldn't put them in the category of Big 12 Team of the Year for me, but at the same time, I thought they had a good season. Kansas State always has a good season. I thought Kansas State, honestly, on the back half of the season, though, is it me or did they just kind of lose their way a little bit? And I don't know where it happened, other than when you look at it, they had it made at 7-1, and they beat Kansas in a close one on October 26th. And then those last 3, they go 1-3. And it was a tough schedule. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe some tough games, Arizona State and Iowa State. Houston, I guess. I mean, Houston finished 11th in the Big 12, and they finished 4-8. So I mean, unless that was a team, and I haven't really looked into Houston, unless that was a team that like really turned it around at the end and they were just on this big losing streak and then finally won 4 games or something, which I don't think is the case. I mean, a team like Kansas State just had an inexcusable day there. Arizona State, playoff team. I get it. Blowout Cincinnati. Okay. Iowa State was in the running, was ranked, was up there. That's a tough loss. You only lost by 8 on rivalry weekend. Then you turn around in the Rate Bowl and you play Rutgers. And you beat Rutgers in a shootout by 3. So I thought they finished okay, at least with the bowl game. They won 4 straight games. They beat Colorado and Oklahoma State, who was ranked 20 at the time. That was September 28th. And they turn around, they lose 3 of their last 4. I don't know. Strong start, not the best finish. But I'd still put them up there in my top 10 for the Big 12. So again, we start with Arizona State, Colorado, Iowa State, BYU, Baylor in our top 5. TCU, Kansas State, Texas Tech, pretty good team. West Virginia, Rich Rod, welcome. We'll see what he's able to do next year. Houston, Kansas, Utah, Arizona, UCF, Cincinnati, and Oklahoma State. Yikes. Yikes. And again, our Big 12 team of the year is Colorado. Love you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in and watching today. Hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. Jesus loves you. God bless. And we'll see you next time here at BSM.